friends, and welcome to Ask Alicia with me, your host, Alicia Rose, and I am the founder of the Rose Composite. This is a little series where I channel different spirits and see what they have to say. So, as you can see, I'm in a little different place than usual. I'm in sunny Flagstaff today. There's actually quite a bit of snow around still, which is really fun. But I really like about Flagstaff are these incredible flocks of ravens. And so today we are going to channel the raven, and already they're coming through so strongly. They really focus on the solar plexus energy. There's so much power behind ravens. And there's also this reminder with the ravens that they work together quite well. It's a reminder that not only do we have to have our own personal power, our own individual power, but to then use that to collaborate with those around us, collaborate with our communities, collaborate with our tribes, collaborate with your family, those around you, whatever you feel is most appropriate. There's also this air of like if you don't really know who you're supposed to be collaborating with, just a couple reminders. One, to really like open up and keep your intuition open to seeing people who may be coming in. There might also be people around who are there to help you, but you haven't necessarily engaged with them in that way yet. So get creative there. They also want to remind you that you can shift. So especially if you're someone who has lived in the same community for a very long time, very connected with your family, very connected with where you live, and those long-standing relationships, take good care to ensure that you're open to new people coming in and seeing what sort of work and partnerships you can do there. It's a strong reminder not to be like cemented in the past. It is a reminder to continue to change and grow. And a beautiful raven just did this flying pattern where they go out and they do like a U-turn and they come back, and they do these turnarounds. And it's important to realize that, especially as humans, for the most part, we live the same lives. And what I mean by that is we eat and sleep and, have the same basic lives. We all tend to live in homes of some sort, some kind of structure. And as much as we can want and be so unique and flamboyant, there is this underlying, and I'll almost call it survival. There's this underlying pattern of, a big chunk of our existence that is so similar. And so it's a reminder to, as you are being that individual, to also remember and to align with the whole, right? It's not just about you and your daily life, it's about your whole community's daily life. And so we're asking to really embody that energy more fully, embody the energy of how can you be of your highest service. And remember too, when we talk about that individual side of things, the individual has their own unique skills and gifts, and it's about remembering to really hone in on your niche so that you can support your whole community with your highest skill, with your best skill. Everyone has a purpose here, and it's about fully identifying and embodying that purpose, whatever that means to you, and sharing that with others. I want you to think through that too, because sometimes we don't realize our purpose is broader and applicable to many, many different parts of life. So, for example, someone might think, oh, I'm a cook, I'm a chef, I make food, that's my purpose. Well, perhaps it is, but perhaps it's also this level of through your food, you bring groups together and you make them feel comforted and you raise their vibrations in that way. And so, you could go do that in many different scenarios, right? You could go be a political leader, you could go be a teacher, you could go be a community leader, whatever seems right for you. But if you're thinking, cooking and being a chef are my purpose, when really there's this other level to it. I want you to consider, um, consider the layers of your purpose. Because at that point, being a cook or a chef is the way you practice that purpose, but it isn't quite the purpose itself. The purpose itself is in gathering and making people feel comforted. So think through that a little bit. Certainly, I would say, just as an example, a couple of my purposes, I tend to be a role model. I tend to be someone that is quite triggering for a lot of people. And, that has its pros and cons for sure. But a lot of the times I'm there to um, incite realizations that there is more than what we believe exists. So much of our power is in our beliefs. So I highly encourage you to grow beyond that and to consider your beliefs. Consider if they're serving you. Consider if there's other beliefs that you might want to bring on, more than actually changing your beliefs or throwing them up in the air and reevaluating. What I would highly, highly encourage you to do is just learn about what other people believe. And it's not to sit there and compare neck and neck, but when we start to understand multiple avenues, we start to understand multiple beliefs. The next step to that is the reflection, right? Because if we don't understand that one of our beliefs, and what happens is some beliefs get so deeply rooted, we have no understanding that they can be changed. And at the end of the day, anything can be changed, right? So in this setting, the first part is just observing what others believe, because sometimes there's things that we don't even know are out there. There are beliefs that we don't know we have. There are beliefs that other people have that we don't know we have the ability to embody. There are so many beautiful opportunities. And then the next step is to really evaluate, right? So if I'm trying to think of a good example. They're talking about the stars, right? The stars. So, I love this so much. And again, this is the raven energy coming through. Because remember, too, the ravens are thought to go in and out of the spirit worlds. They're thought to be able to traverse into what I would call the world of the dead. Um, and there are many different terms. So don't get too caught up on any one of these. But the thought is that they can give and receive messages beyond our realm. And what's so beautiful about that is when you then kind of pull these beliefs back. You might believe that you are part of this certain constellation. You are, and I'm just going to kind of make examples up. You are part of the Gemini constellation. You are a Gemini. You can be nothing except a Gemini. And as we all know, with astronomy, these constellations move through different parts of the sky. And so there's Gemini in all these other parts, right? And then when you kind of blow that even higher, whether you are a star in Gemini or Leo or Virgo or whatnot, at the end of the day, you're still a star. And it's so helpful to then think too, there are different types of stars. We have the red stars, we have blue stars. And so there can be blue stars in Orion and blue stars in Gemini. You might be a blue star, but that doesn't say what constellation you're in, right? And so I want you to really start to expand your thinking that you do not have to be just one thing. You can be many, many things. And you do not have to prioritize those. You do not have to have those in competition. You do not have to link your identity with that. You can have many roles, many purposes, many outlets in many different ways that they look here in this material world, while also having that opportunity to be a part of the whole. And there's almost this ebb and flow to our natural way of living, where we sort of wake up and we go out into the world and we're part of our communities, we're part of our cities, we're part of our towns. And then we come back home and we sort of retreat back in with our family. We retreat back into bed. We retreat into dream time all by ourselves. And then the next day you go out to the community again and you're part of the whole again. You're part of the group again. Maybe you're part of your workplace. You're part of your coworker team. And the reality is that all of these things exist, right? You are simultaneously alone and part of the group at the same time. It's not that I'm part of the group or I'm alone, right? And so part of this raven energy that's coming through is to basically remind us, and really the message is to remind us that we can separate from our bodies and take our spiritual self and send that out elsewhere. We can send our spiritual self to do work for us in other dimensions, to have awareness in other lives, to have awareness in other souls, awareness in other pieces of the puzzle. And the example that comes to mind are these twin flames. I think most of us have heard this term before. And the whole idea behind a twin flame is that it's one core soul that has been split into two bodies, right? And that's where people think there are these romantic makeups very strongly. And though I will say I think a lot of twin flame relationships are romantic, it's not a guarantee. You can have twin flames who are like mother-daughter pairs. You can have twin flames who are coworkers. There's any unlimited level of possibilities there. But the important part is to understand that that your soul has multiple bodies in different dimensions in different worlds. And that as you desire, you can take that piece of your heart, that piece of your spirit, and have that awareness into these other places. And it's a really beautiful opportunity to either heal things in other lives, heal things in other dimensions that are impacting you here in this one, or also to bring those energies, bring those capabilities into your own life, bring those qualities into your own life to improve your life here. So let's think of a good example for that. Oh, okay. So I think you guys know by now, I have a lot of different lives that I float between. And one of them came up this week. I had kind of been manipulated and fooled into becoming a part of this cult. And right now I am in, and you can sense it in this talk too. There's a space where I'm becoming more individuality, more of my individual nature, while also, the more authentic I am to my own unique self, the better I can fit in with the community of all the other unique selves, right? So if we're all walking around like lemmings, there's nothing special about you. But if you can find a way to walk around in your most authentic self at your highest character, then all of a sudden you are the most special person because you are the one who is so authentically aligned with your purpose, aligned with your capabilities, aligned with your soul mission here in this life. And keep in mind, every so often someone doesn't have a mission. They're kind of here to have fun and stuff. But for the most part, people have some sort of mission or purpose behind why they're here. And remember, too, that doesn't have to be so extreme. And so, like, a lot of people think, like, well, let's just name some examples, right? A lot of people have missions to be singers and to use their voice and to sing messages of spirit. And, at its root core, you could be J-Lo or the girl in the neighborhood bar, right? Jenny from the block is real. And, J-Lo was always J-Lo even before she had her claim to fame, before she was at the Super Bowl, before she was, wherever she is now. And it's important to have that understanding that your core essence is always within you, no matter where you are and where you go. And that core purpose is something that you will always be doing. So the other example would be Oprah, right? Oprah was always kind of doing her thing, even even before she became Oprah, right? And so what's kind of helpful with this too is you can think back into when you were a child and start to think about, right, what did I like doing? What was I interested in? How did I operate? Because usually those years when you're 7 years old and under are your, you haven't been conditioned so much. So you're more likely to behave at your most authentic version. And think too, the color of the raven, they're black as night. And that color black is so beautiful because it metaphorically symbolizes the void, and within the void, all things exist. So the idea of the raven, the entity of the raven, is that all things exist within this. And, all of the versions of yourself are within you. All of those different, not only the different roles, right? You might be a mom and a daughter and a coworker and an architect, and the list goes on, right? But you might also have multiple dimensions that you're living in, right? So I think the easiest way to describe that would just be to like think in timelines, right? So there's a version of me here, there's a version of me that's a witch in Salem, there's a version of me in Africa, there's a version of me on and on, right? And two, remember, as we were talking about that twin flame idea, there are pretty common thoughts that on top of that, we all come from that same source energy. There's only one source energy, and we are all kind of branching out and having these independent experiences, these variety of experiences for ourselves in all these lives. And that's actually an old Quaker teaching that I really like, Society of Friends teaching, is that, and it's kind of saying that you should be respectful and kind and thoughtful and, treat others how you want to be treated. But as it goes is, as God is omnipresent, there is God in me, there is God in you, there is God in all of us. So whoever you're talking to, whether it's the raven or your neighbor or whatnot, you should treat them like they are God as they treat you like you are God. And it's really just to have that highest understanding and respect. And again, if you don't like that term God, just sub it out for universe, source, whatever term you prefer most. And I think that is about us. So certainly some of the pinch points, right? Remember your individuality, really focus on your purpose and your uniqueness with that awareness of the whole in mind, with the awareness of your larger group in mind. Know that you don't have to align to one identity. You can have all those identities. You can have all those pieces of yourself. You can be a dancer and an architect. You don't have to be one or the other. You can be a mom and a daughter. It's not like you're only one of those, right? And then also to remember that energy of turning around, right? Because the reality is that as you go deeper and deeper into this spiritual journey, you certainly come to realize it's all the same thing, and you're sort of just taking laps. And I always really like that imagery. So today's number is 66. We are 6 days away from releasing the Free to Love program. So excited for that. We'll be talking about things like this and more. And hey, thank you, Raven. I didn't even think about that. They said that part of the reason they're here is to really help push that program. They're talking about individuality. They're talking about being themselves. They're flying over right now. And so Free to Love is all about, releasing any beliefs or blocks you may have, and then really coming into that energy of having that sovereign love, that highest love for whatever it is that you so deeply enjoy. Because part of the power here, and again, the Raven's kind of coming through, part of the power here is in pursuing what you love, pursuing your individual joys. It allows everyone else to do that as well, because it says that we're all able to be our piece in the whole. So that is my encouragement for you today. I love you all. Definitely have a great, wonderful day. I will be continuing to travel. So if you want one-on-one sessions, do book those in and feel free to send me a message if you're hoping to expedite something. My schedule's a little all over the place. So tell me some times that work for you and I'll always try and fit you in. And I am excited to see you soon. All right, so the website is roseco.co. You can always go to calendly.com/rosecomposite. I'm Alicia Rose. I'm a psychic medium, energy transmuter, all the things. And I'm really grateful to continue working with you all. And I hope you enjoyed this video. All right, lots of love.